What's up? Welcome to the video. In this one, I'm going to show you how I made this Art Deco vintage style travel poster in Affinity Designer. You can also make this in Affinity Photo. Thank you to Samuel, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, for the suggestion. I've never created something like this before, so please go easy on me. There's so many talented people in Affinity Designer, and I'm not one of them. So let's hop in and let's do this. Okay, so we're in Affinity Designer. Again, this can be done in Affinity Designer or Affinity Photo. I just picked Designer for this one. At the bottom here, I have a color palette, which I'm going to be using. So I'll be using some or all of these colors. If you don't know what colors to work with or how to start to grab some inspiration, you can go to a site like Coolers or another color palette site and just grab some colors to start working with. What I'm going to do is just move these over to the side for now. And let's get started on this poster. I'm going to start with the sky. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my tools. I'm going to go to my shapes. And I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to take this this reddy orange kind of color for the top of the sky. We'll put the sky in two different colors. So I'm going to click on here, drag out my sky to about there. So that's the top part of the sky. In my layers panel, I'm just going to label it top sky so we know where it is. And next up, I'm going to use this orange for the rest of the sky, but I'm going to draw it out with my pen tool because I don't want it to look so boxy. So I'm going to go over to my tools. I'm going to click on my pen tool. You can hit P on your keyboard. And when I use my pen tool, I usually use pen mode, but I also select rubber band mode at the top. And the reason I do that is because you can see a preview of what your next line is going to look like. And I find that helpful. So with this orange selected, I'm going to go to about here, and I'm just going to start drawing out a bit more shape here. So it's just a little bit more rounded and just looks a little bit more, you know, not so boxy. So let's try this. I'm going to do this like that. I'm going to make it this orange color. So now we have this part of the sky and this second part of the sky. So I'll call this, I don't know, bottom sky. Bottom sky. Sure. So now we've got this and this. The next thing I want to do is I want to draw a mountain out. So, and I'm going to use this blue right here, I believe, for the mountain, or I'm going to start that way. So let's grab our pen tool again. So I'm going over to my layers panel, or my tools, I'm sorry. Clicking on my pen, you can hit P on your keyboard. And again, I have rubber band mode selected at the top. And I want to use this blue right here, I believe. And I'm just going to start drawing a mountain out. We'll see how this goes. So I'm going to start from, say, here. And I'm just going to kind of draw out how I think a mountain would look. Just kind of ridgy and edgy in certain spots. We'll do a peak maybe here. Go over like this, and we'll add some elements to this to make it look a little bit better. But this will be our mountain right here. Let's do this. And again, we're going to fill it with this this blue here, I think. And I'll bump it up a little bit. Maybe pull it down here like this. So we got this kind of a peak here. So it looks okay. It doesn't look like much right now, but some shape. So let's add something to this mountain to give it a bit more depth. So in my layers panel, I'm going to label this mountain. And the next thing we're going to do is put something inside this mountain, a shadow, to make it look a little bit better. So with my mountain selected, what I'm going to do is go down, and you can do this in Affinity Photo as a pixel layer. You could add a pixel layer. You can do this also in Designer, or you can add just a regular layer, which would be like a vector layer in Affinity Designer. No wrong answer here. I'm going to select Add Layer. When that layer is now here in my Layers panel, I'm going to call it Shadow. And what I'm going to do is take it and drop it on top of the mountain layer. And you'll see now it's embedded inside the mountain layer. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to draw around it and just have whatever I do just be strictly inside that mountain. So let's go back, grab our pen tool. So P on your keyboard or right here in your tools over here. And what I'm going to do is just, in my colors here, I've already got the blue selected that the mountain already is. I want to make it a little bit darker. So let's draw it out first. I'm going to start about here. And there's no wrong answer here. It's just sort of how the way a shadow would look on a mountain, and it would be different depending on where the sun was at the time of day. We're just adding some depth here. So let's just do this. I'm going to draw around it. I'm going to draw outside of it because it's going to be embedded inside. So I'm not worried about going outside the lines. So now that we have that selected, let's give it a color, maybe something like that, that darker color there. And that just gives it a bit of a shadow. So it looks a little bit more realistic or 3D like. So now that we have that, let's draw out some water down here. So back to my toolbars or my tools, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, click on that, and I'm just going to drag out a line here, and I'm going to make it this blue right here. Let's see, let's make it, oops, let's pull it up there. Let's make it this colored blue right here. So now we've got water, we've got a mountain, and we've got a bit of a sky, so it's kind of coming together. Next thing I want to do, I'm going to call this water on the layers panel here. what I want to do is I want to duplicate this mountain. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want to flip it and I want to make it look like a shadow in the water. So first thing I'm going to do is duplicate this mountain in my layers panel. And on a Mac, you can hit Command J. On a PC, you can hit Control J. And this mountain on top here, what I'm going to do, on the bottom, is I'm going to go into it and I'm going to get rid of the shadow because I don't need it on the bottom version. So I'm going to get rid of that. And with my bottom layer selected, so let's say I'm going to call this mountain reflection. What I'm going to do is I got it selected. I'm going to right click my mouse. I'm going to go down to transform. I'm going to say flip vertical. And when I do that now, it's going to come down like this. Now, it looks a bit too strong in the water like this. So what I'm going to do is with it selected in my layers panel, I'm going to go to opacity up here at the top. I'm going to bring the opacity down. So it looks like more of a shadow in the water and not so strong. I'm also going to fade the shadow out a bit so it doesn't permanently go all the way up. So with that reflection selected, I'm going to go over to this tool in my toolbox here called the transparency tool. Click on that. And from about here, I'm going to click and just drag it out maybe to like here, just so it doesn't look so intense because the shadow would slightly fade as it continued. So we got that part done. That looks cool. It's coming a little bit more together now. Next thing I want to do is add a sun behind this mountain here. So let's go back to our shapes. I'm going to click on the circle tool, the ellipse, and I'm going to hold shift so I get a perfect circle. So I'm just going to hold shift, drag out a circle like this, and that looks okay. And I'm going to use this color right here, this creamy white looking color for this sun. So put it like that. And what I want is I want it obviously behind the mountain. So I'm going to go my layers panel and call this sun. I'm going to click and drag it behind the mountain here. And I'll pull it up to about here maybe. So now we have a sun behind the mountain, which looks kind of cool. And let's add a couple other things here. Right at the mountain down here, it would be dark because the sun is up here. So it would lighten up here, but it'd be pretty dark along here. So what I'm going to do is grab my rectangle tool again, and I'm going to click and drag it out to about maybe here. And I wanted the same blue that we used before on this mountain. So I'm going to select that blue there. Oops, sorry. Is it this blue? Yeah, that blue. There we go. And I'm going to fade it a little bit in the layers panel here. So I'm going to drag that down a little bit. And I'm also, again, going to use that transparency tool to fade it a little bit. So I'm going to grab the transparency tool, click, and I'm going to drag this out, maybe like that. Just so we've got a bit of a darker shadow here, and it kind of gradually fades away. Okay, so now it's coming together. Looks pretty cool. I mean, again, this is not my thing. I'm kind of trying this out. Let's maybe add some clouds and some other things, but let's add maybe like a sailboat. I'm going to zoom in here, and I don't really know how to draw a sailboat. I'm not great at this stuff. So let's try this. I'm going to go to my shapes. I'm going to grab a triangle, right? So I got a triangle because I'm going to make it a sail of a boat. I'm going to click, drag out a triangle here, okay? Now, a sailboat would look kind of like a triangle, but it usually has a bit of a bit of a bend in the sail. So what I'm going to do is with my triangle selected, and I'm going to go into my layers panel, label this sail so no one's confused here. I'm going to go up to this thing called convert to curves right here. I'm going to click on that. Now, once I've converted this to curves, my node tool is already selected here in the layers panel. Your node tool hides with this point transform tool. I'm going to click to about the middle of it here. Click, hold, and I'm going to drag this in a little bit. So it has a bit of almost like a shark fin. Kind of like that. So it looks like it's in motion a little bit. So that's the sail. Now I'm going to do another thing. I need the bottom of the boat. So I'm going to grab my pen tool again. Again, rubber band mode is selected. And I'm going to try to draw out maybe how a boat would look. Again, we'll see how this goes. So I would say it would have a base like this. Maybe out like this. And it would kind of go maybe up like this. Over and down. I could be totally wrong. I don't sail. No idea how to sail. And where's the blue we're looking for? There it is. So maybe I'll line that up more like, I don't know, like this. I have no idea, guys. I have no idea about sailing. Okay, so we got that. That looks kind of cool. I think I'll fade it a little bit. Maybe kind of like that. So now we've got a little sailboat on the water. Not sure how realistic that looks. Maybe I'll make it a bit smaller. pull it up there maybe. So we got a little sailboat out on the water there. And let's try some clouds. So what I'm going to do is I'll use this color of the sun for the clouds. I'm going to grab my pen tool again. And I'm not sure how this is going to go, but let's try this out. So I'm going to use this cream color for this. And I'm going to keep them straight on the bottom like this. And then here I'm going to try to round these out a little bit. And again, it won't look too realistic, but this is kind of like an Art Deco style that, you know, I don't know how realistic it's going to look anyways. So let's make it this sort of cream color here. Yeah, you know what? Don't like that. Let's try this again. So back to the pen tool. Draw this out. And let's go over here and make it round like this maybe. Let's try that. No idea. Okay, so we'll do that. Drag it out. I'm going to grab another one of these. I'm just duplicating this and flipping it, making it maybe a little smaller. I'll put one here. I'm not sure how that looks, but we'll see, guys. Maybe I'll draw a different one out here so it doesn't look so crazy. Let's grab this. I'll drag this one out like that, and I'll make this one look a little different. All right, so we got some clouds there, like that. I'm going to add a couple other things here. What I'm going to do is, usually, you know, you get a reflection from the sky on the water somehow. So let's just try this. I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool, click, I'm going to drag it out, and I'm going to make it this orange color here. And let's really fade it. Like really, really fade it. Really fade it here. Just give it a bit of a thing. And then I'm going to fade it the opposite way. I'm going to grab the transparency tool and fade from here down. So there's some orange at the top there. Maybe I'll make it a little bit stronger. Something like that. Just so we got a bit of color from both sides there. So now we've got a lot of elements in place here. Now, I'm going to add a couple of quick things here to these clouds. Now, in Affinity Photo, you can do this easily. What I'm going to do, because I'm in Affinity Designer, is I'm going to add a new pixel layer. And I'm going to go over to the pixel persona, which is right here, because I want to use a pixel brush. I don't want to use a vector brush. So I'm going to click on the pixel persona. It's going to give me more brushes over here. And I'm going to select the Retro Supply subtle grain brushes right here. If you want any of these brushes, check my link down in the description. They have the best brushes for Affinity Photo. I love their stuff. And if you want to do that, that supports the channel. So I'm grabbing these subtle grain brushes, and I'm going to use this cream color that we used for the sun here. Or this orange color, sorry, for the sky, because I want it to kind of blend in. So this is very subtle, but you'll see here if I zoom in and paint. I'm just going to give this a little slight grain here, just for a little of effect over the clouds here. Just a little something. And do the same thing on this one over here. Sometimes the little things help. And then down here. I'm just going to do that to the clouds. Very minor, but... so now that we've got all that done, what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to go back to my layers. I'm going to say this is cloud work. Sure. This is orange spelling. Orange highlights. Whatever. Orange highlights. Okay. And let's group these together as clouds. Whoa. What are you yelling at, computer? Clouds. There we go. Okay. Excuse me. So we got all that done. Now, what I'm going to do here is add a new pixel layer at the top. And I'm going to admit, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm just going to put some palm tree brushes in here, because I'm not the best at drawing anything, really. So these brushes that I'm going to use here, the Dreamtography brushes, are free if you own Affinity Photo. So you can just use these brushes. What I'm going to do is they actually have a palm tree brush, which is very convenient for this. And I'm going to make it, I don't know what color I'm going to use yet. This one might be too dark. And actually might actually work, you know, that might be fine. I might make them blue. Would it be better as blue, you think? Like that? No, I'm going to use the darker color. So let's use that one. And then let's go back to like a black basically here. And maybe I'll put them like this. No, too big. Maybe I'll do something like this. And move it over because that's going to cover my boat, which I don't want. So we'll do something like that, maybe. That looks pretty cool. Now we'll add some text. So let me zoom out here. And I'm going to go back to the regular persona here. I'm going to go down to my text tool. And the text I'm looking for that I downloaded is called Park, what is it? Park something. Park Lane. It's a free font you can get. And let's say this is Tahiti. And let's make it white. Pull the font up like that. Center it. And I'll see if the shadow works on this. I'm not sure if this is good with the shadow or not. But let's go to our effects down in the bottom of our layers panel. I'm going to click on outer shadow and just drag it up and see if... Yeah, I like that. It makes it look a little bit more 3D. And I might actually change the color of this boat. I don't know. Should the boat be darker? Maybe it should be. Because it's... Maybe the boat would look better like that. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Maybe it should just be darker. Let's try this. I'm sorry, I'm just messing with this, guys. Should it be dark? Yeah, it should probably be dark. Oops. Let's go here. Make it a little bit darker. Kind of like that. Okay, so here we have it. This is our sort of Art Deco style travel poster. Again, not my thing. Thank you for the comment there and adding that. Just a challenge. I'd like to try it and see how it works. So this is how I would do it. I would start with a color palette. I would look at some other Art Deco posters to see what works. You just kind of mess with some basic colors and basic shapes and manipulate them a little bit to try and make it stand out. Again, I cheated a little bit with these trees because I can't draw anything like that. A lot of Art Deco, you see palm trees are not really this defined. Just a little bit easier for me to finish it that way. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please tap that like button. And if you've never seen my stuff before, hop on over, join the Design Method gang. We we dance battle every Wednesday, and no one has beat me yet, but I'm the only one competing so far. But hey, I'm waiting. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.